What's going on, everybody? Chase with iDub Hockey, joined today with Gabriel from CCM Hockey, and we're here in Montreal with your exciting new RibCor Trigger 8 Pro line. Now, before we start talking tech and spec and the new upgrades this year, how would you describe the flex profile and maybe the style of shooter you built RibCor for?
So when we think about the RibCor sticks, we really think about the low kick point. So really those quick snapshots, even though quick wrist shots that we will take closer to the net. Not necessarily the heaviest shots, but those shots to surprise the goaltender on the other side.
Now let's talk about the Trigger 8 Pro, because a lot of the technologies and features that you find on it obviously play into that quick release. But this year we see a big change in the overall feel for the puck. Now we have a new blade and that lends to it. What's going on?
So what we added to our Trigger 8 Pro this year is a new blade, so we call it the dual feel blade. So it's really a new technology that will improve the feel, reduce the vibrations, and also improve the acoustics of the blade. So what it is mainly is an insert of foam in the heel section of the blade that helps dampen the vibrations and the sound. So we did some tests in our performance lab, some blind tests, and it was unanimous that people really preferred the feel and the sound of our dual feel blade.
Interesting. So it's not as loud, I'm guessing, as some of the other blades before. So is that because you're trying to be more sneaky on the ice or anything like that?
Not necessarily. It's really to put really that confidence, to really allow players to have that trust in their sticks, and it really feels good. And like I said, it was unanimous that people preferred how it sounded and how it feels.
And so now we talked about the feel and how players choose that really nice soft reception area that the dual feel provides, but everyone has come to know and love that feel of the shot release of RibCor. So does that affect maybe the accuracy or maybe that quick release at all?
So definitely not. We really wanted to keep the same shooting performance, the same shooting accuracy as what we had before. So one of our goals was really to reduce puck wobble. The other one was to improve the feel while stick handling and passing. And the third one was to keep the same shooting experience as what RibCor stick can deliver.
And that was the first thing I noticed today. The first couple shots zipped off of the blade like RibCor has always been known for, but catching passes, it just gives you this extra level of confidence, I guess. As we talk about the shaft here, this is a big upgrade as well. New to the RibCor line is that carbon Nanolite Shield. Why is that so important for these players that are looking for the ultimate quick release?
So Nanolite Shield technology is a technology that we brought up with our Jet Speed stick earlier this year. So what we did is we did integrate this in our first price point for the Trigger 8 Pro. So it's a new way of stacking different thicknesses of carbon fiber layers. So what it is in the inner core of the stick, we have our thin carbon layers that are stacked together. And these layers are held and pressed by two thicker layers of carbon fiber. And just by doing so, we're able to remove a lot of weight on the shaft. And on top of that, we have our Sigma STP, which is our top-end carbon weave that comes and protects the shaft and the blade from puck impacts and slashing. But we also kept the E-geometry on the stick, so the same geometry that we had on our Trigger 7 Pro and also on the rest of our RibCor sticks. So what it does is really to improve the feel for our players while stick handling and shooting, but also helping with the release of the shots. So just the geometry helps. When you're loading your stick, it really helps the stick to regain its original shape. So it helps with the release while shooting.
So we still have that deadly quick shot release, even better feel for the puck this year. And you mentioned it's lighter. What's the overall weight of this senior Trigger 8 Pro?
So the stick sits now at 370 grams, which is 10 grams lighter than our previous Trigger 7 Pro.
Now, last but not least, the name bar has been a hit for CCM hockey sticks. Is that something that we see in the new Trigger 8 Pro?
So we have our custom name bar on our three top price points. So we have it on the Trigger 8 Pro, the Trigger 8, and also the RibCor team.
Perfect. So just make sure you throw on your name as well as your number at checkout, and you're going to have a custom Pro stick right in front of you. And now, as we look at the Trigger 8, this is elite level performance at a little bit more of an approachable price compared to the Trigger 8 Pro. So if I'm that player, what are a couple key features and maybe some materials that we find in the Trigger 8 that I should be really excited to see?
So what we did for our Trigger 8 is really to bet on our strengths from our previous year. So we have a similar construction. We have our advanced carbon matrix as our carbon material for the stick. We still have the Sigmatex carbon weave on the shaft and the blade. And we also have the Skeleton Plus that we find on our first price point. to improve the hosel part of the stick. We also have the E-shaped geometry that helps with the release of the stick.
So from inside and out, high-end materials like that Sigmatex, I've said before, that used to just only be found in your top-end sticks, now finding it on the Trigger 8, and then just some high-end technology going into it as well. Now, what about the blade construction? How similar is that to the Trigger 8, and what is that gonna do for that sniper looking for that quick release and maximum puck feel?
Yeah, so we have a regular stiffness on all of our RibCor sticks. We still have a blade that delivers an amazing level of performance. So the difference between our two top price points will be kind of minimal. We will have an amazing shooting performance, that quick release, that same accuracy. The main difference will be the dual field technology between the Trigger 8 Pro and our Trigger 8.
Last but not least, before we start talking about the competitive level price points, I did want to mention those microfuel shaft dimensions. I think that's really exciting to see this year. You guys have really elevated your game when it comes to that textured grip. So walk me through the inspiration of what we see in RibCor this year.
So like you said, we have our microfill grip on our top 3 price points. So really a grip that helps the players to improve their feel while also having a good level of control while stick handling, passing, and shooting.
That's what I really like, especially in the 8 and the 8 Pro, just the amount of texture you have so you know exactly where your hand is sitting at all times, just giving you great feedback from top to bottom. Now, as we move into the team, the 86K and the 84K, these are built for anyone from a competitive skater to maybe that recreational or new to hockey player. Let's start with the RibCor team because it's one of my favorite paint jobs I've seen in a stick in a long time. Just so dark and mean and cool looking. But more importantly, how is that going to play for that competitive player out there?
So we really have interesting key features for our 3rd, 4th, and 5th price point. So first off, we have our C6 carbon weave that we have on our RibCor team and our 86K to allow it to be even lighter than what we had before. Still, we have the E-geometry also on the 3rd and 4th price point. So really to help with the release of the stick. So we also kept the same grip on our 3rd price point, so the RibCor team. We have a grip that really feels good, really helps players to have a better control on your stick. But on the 86K, what we have is just a regular grip. Still something that feels really good, that provides the players with a good control, a good feel, but not as textured as what we have on our top 3 price points.
And then to finish this off, what do we have for the weights for these 3 prices?
Yeah, so for the 3rd price point for the RibCor team, we are sitting at 445 grams. For the 86K, we are sitting at 460 grams. And for the 84K, we are sitting at 520 grams.
So one last time, Gabriel, thank you so much for having us out here and walking us through your new RibCor line.
Thanks for being there, Chase.
And for you at home that want to check out the full line of RibCor sticks, make sure you head over to icewarehouse.com.